Okay, this is a technical photography camera mount. I was inspired to build this because I was actually almost lost the camera as I tipped it over on a rather unstable tripod. I do a lot of technical photography, and this stand finds lots of usage. You can see here I've got the camera pointed downwards. If you're doing macro photography or trying to do some document replication, it works well there. You can easily rotate it upwards. If you've got some test equipment sitting on a shelf, you can take photographs of that. Here you can see it's been mounted to a wall. It allows me to take photographs of equipment in the workshop. Again, it sort of gets out of the way, yet allows the photography to happen quite seamlessly. Another use here, you can see the stand can be tipped backwards so the camera moves further away from the desk surface. So if you need to photograph something a bit larger, it works great for that. And the last video is where I've sort of mounted it to a shelf, and it's photographing something on a tabletop. I do this a lot actually, and it allows me to keep the camera out of the way as I use my hands, yet still photograph the procedure I'm trying to record. So found a lot of use with this stand. This video basically goes to the details. If you'd like to build one that's similar, just step through all the things I found about how to build one and what I ended up. Okay, so if you want to build a stand this way, you're going to first start off with some wood. I use 2x2 stock. I use red oak, about 40 inches of it. You don't need to use red oak, just happen to what I had in my workshop. Any decent hardwood should work, or a clear grained softwood. The next thing you need to do is get a ball mount head for the camera. It's a mini ball head mount, usually what they're known as. I use the Giottos here, but quite frankly you can use just about any brand. The real key thing is it has to have a 1/4-20 mount. Now these are very easy to get. Go to any decent camera shop and they'll have a great selection of them. You might even be able to salvage one off an old tripod. The other two fittings are a little more special. I use a company called Lee Valley here. The propel nuts, those basically allow a threaded insert to be put into wood. They find a lot of use. And then the wing nuts here. I actually have the part numbers there if you actually wish to buy the exact duplicates. And the last thing you need to use the stand, of course, is a C-clamp. Just about any C-clamp will do. You have to obviously get one that matches the thickness of the tabletop you want to clamp for. Okay, obviously a wooden stand is going to require a table saw to make the cut, so you have to be capable and competent and comfortable in using a table saw. You'll also find that a wooden sled on the table saw will be handy for the cuts that need to be made. Okay, so the bottom piece requires pretty substantial cutout. You can see I haven't cut the end off because it was much safer to hog out the parts I did not need before I cut it off. Okay, let's go through all the pieces that you need to make to do the stand. This is the base that gets clamped either to the wall or gets clamped to the desktop. You can see I've cut a dado out in the middle of the piece. I've also drilled 2 holes, and that allows me to mount it to the wall if I want to with a couple of screws. A couple of countersink screws here, number 8 size. That allows the vertical piece to be inserted. Now, just as a reminder, this piece is 8 inches long. The vertical piece is here. You can see there's a large dado cut. Again, for safety reasons, what you should do is take a large piece of wood, cut the dado here so you can keep your hands away from the saw blade. The surface is rough. I left it rough because that basically allows the wood to bind against each other when I put a screw through it. Now this one has the propel nut installed, and I'll show how to put one of those in. It's quite straightforward. And you also can see I did a round over in this piece, and that's just simply for looks. This is piece number 3. It's all complete. It is 13.5 inches long. The dado cut on one side is about 6.5 inches. The dado cut on the other side is about 3 3/4 inches. Again, since you're cutting a long dado here, it's best to actually keep a piece of wood long. Cut the dado, and then cut off the piece when you're finished. There's a series of holes cut with a 3/8 inch bit. The sequence of holes here allow the stand to be adjusted in height, and this is just the connection to the next part of the product. So that's piece number 3. Again, it has the same roundover treatment. I'll show how that's created in a moment. Okay, so here's the 4th piece. Now you can see actually the dado is cut onto this direction here, but then it actually reverses here. This is the side that gets the camera mount, and this is the side that mounts the last piece we just looked at. Again, make sure that you cut the piece. Don't cut the piece short. Do the dados first, and then cut the piece when you've got the dados in place. This piece here is 9 inches long. On the front here it's about 2.5 inches, and the back here it's about 3.5 inches. Again, the actual dimensions, you can create the exact stand, it works great for me, but I built it to match exactly my workshop. You might want something a bit longer, actually maybe something shorter. Same thing, there's a propel nut here, that's for this piece. It's countersunk down and made flush to this metal. Okay, this piece here, you don't need to do it. This is the 5th piece in the stand. You actually don't need it if you're not planning on doing a wall mount, but it's constructed the same concept. Propel nut on one side going through, the other side is just simply a hole where you can basically use this to adjust the camera. It rotates it another 90 degrees. Anyway, try wall mount. I think you recognize this is actually also required. Okay, so we have the propel nut here. We have a 3/8 inch drill bit here and a 3/4 inch Forstner bit here. And we're going to need all of these to basically install this propel nut. Here's the piece that goes on to the mount. Now I have to drill first on the Forstner side, on the smooth side. So I marked this side as well. I've drilled down 0.16 inches. That'll hide the head of the screw inside of it. And more importantly, it'll give me the threads all the way down through. Alright, so this piece is finished now. It has a recess here, it has a hole here. The only thing left to do is to install the Forstner, and that's really quite simply just get a hammer. Okay, with all the pieces cut out, there are a lot of sharp edges, of course. In particular, the back here really could be used a round off. Now, the easiest way to round off a corner is to mount it onto your sled and then make the rough cuts and then finish it off with a sander. And what I'll do is I'll screw it right down with a pivot, of course, and this screw will allow it to rotate. So the screw has exactly the diameter I need. Of course, this results in a nice semicircle. It's a little rough, but a little sanding and it'll be spot on.